Oh, that's all right.
I think like
Throw.
I'm in such a habit of just recording everything.
No, I think that's and I got that from your video email. I think that's an excellent idea.
Tom,
You know.
Tom likes video because he likes to show off what a slender, good-looking guy he is.
Yeah,
That's exactly
my
right.
ego's fading every day.
That's why we don't use video.
Right?
Yeah. So what you see on your screen, pretty straightforward. We just have the loan officers go in and select the states they're approved to lend in. They can either check all, they can uncheck all, they can check one. They just hit save changes, and those states have been registered as they're approved to lend in those states. If the loan officers don't select any states, we're actually going to set up our safeguard and not display their information because we're going to recognize that they do not lend in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the first thing we want them to go in and do. The top left-hand corner, the RatePlug logo, this is a navigational tip. If you click the RatePlug logo, that's always going to take the loan officers back to their home page. So if they're lost, they want to start over, anything like that, that's just a nice tip that we always try to include.
Okay.
After checking the states approved to lend in, 2 links down is edit your account. This is where we have the loan officers come in and just check their individual information, company information. This is the information that's going to display on their marketing pieces. Just check it for accuracy, make sure it looks right. If for any reason they need to edit that information, we have a link down below, modify general contact and license information. They click the link. You can see the white boxes represent areas that can be edited. The first name and company cannot be edited on the loan officer end. They would need to contact RatePlug in order to have that information changed.
Right.
This is also where they can update their passwords or any and all required licenses that different states may have. We hit save changes and those will go into effect. So that's kind of the basic setup. Those are the 2 safeguards. We make sure, they have the proper information displaying on their marketing materials, and we have the states checked so that the information is going to display first and foremost. Now we go to the most important part of the program, the agent enrollment forms. So this is obviously the crux, getting in front of agents, working with agents, getting that consent to be listed as their preferred lender, as well as educating. We have 2 ways right now that loan officers can get agents to enroll. The first one, generally I show them the first one is going to be at rateplug.com. And what the agents can do is visit rateplug.com. Each one of these red stars is going to represent their MLS that RatePlug is active in. So that agent can come in here and go ahead and select our MLS, for example, if they were up in the Portland area. They also have the ability, we have the drop-down box that has the acronyms available. So if it's easier for them to find, they can go ahead and select our MLS. And this is going to bring them to a specific page with the features and benefits and features for not only the agents, brokers, but also the loan officers. So for an agent to enroll, they just click Agents Learn More. This brings them to a YouTube page with a YouTube video highlighting benefits and features specific to the agents. We have our test results and study results displayed. We have a red sign up button directly to the right of the YouTube video. This is actually where the agent can take that next step and enroll. So once they click sign up, what we're going to do is ask that agent for their MLS identifier. They enter that ID. What RatePlug does is we recognize their member information because we're connected to that MLS database. And at that time, we're going to ask them who their preferred lender is, or if their broker has a preferred lender. And at that time, they select yes. They get a drop-down box that says who is your preferred lender. And at that time, they would fill out their preferred loan officer's name, email address, company name, and phone number. The email address is the most important part of that. That's actually the connecting factor. So we always want to make sure that that email address is what we're highlighting is the most important part.
So,
For the
Tom,
agent, they've got to get an email in there.
Yep.
right. So what that part obviously might not be the choice of a loan officer directing an agent to the site as the best option, because again, you're not even sure when that agent goes to the site. Do they stumble through it in some fashion? We use these landing pages primarily when the MLS might put messaging out to notify their membership of RatePlug, of the program, thus the video or PowerPoints, to familiarize them with what the services are. And we actually do get quite a reasonable number of agents to sign up and tell us which loan officers they work with in that sense. But from Alpine's perspective, it would be a little bit of a soft thing if a loan officer said, just go to rateplug.com and sign up, because you'd lose control of that person. You know what I mean? Might not be.
Totally. This is definitely kind of where you're into the marketing, not necessarily the loan officers.
Exactly.
Correct. And if the loan officer's sitting with the agent, it might not be a bad place
That's
for them to
different.
specifically bring that agent
Yeah.
so that they can show them examples. But yeah, I wouldn't have them just send over a website and say, hey, please go enroll. That's
a good
not
point.
the
That's
best
a good point.
practices
That's
there.
different, because you're going to assure that that person's going to
Yeah, you're going to
complete
walk
the
them
process
through.
and put your name down.
Exactly. Well, that's where you take over the keyboard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that's the online portion. Any questions there? Sorry, I don't have an active MLS ID number to take you through to that enrollment page, but
No, that makes total sense.
okay. So now I'll go into the account, and this is generally speaking, this is the majority, or the way the majority of the agents and loan officer connections happen. Under RatePlug Marketing Tools on the home page, we have an agent enrollment form. So it's pre-populated inside the loan officer's account. Their information will be pre-populated on the form. This is easily either printed or emailed out, however they choose to deliver it to the agent. We just need the agent to fill out this top section here, and then a signature and date down at the bottom. We have the number that they can fax the form back to. Best practices, we recommend the agent return this to the loan officer and the loan officer return it to RatePlug. That way the loan officer is not calling RatePlug wondering if the form was ever filled out or if the agent did what they were supposed to.
Yeah.
And that way the loan officer sends it in. They know within a day that agent's going to be up and running in their system. We also have an email address on the form down at the bottom there that they can scan and email back whatever's the easiest form for them to send back, however it's easiest.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's kind of the two ways that the loan officers can approach and actually physically have the agent enroll and sign up for the program. Should I go over the electronic portion right now? I mean, Tom, we have an electronic portion that's still under construction. So under show agents, you can always access the agents that are active in your account or who the loan officer is connected to at that time. We have an electronic invite that's actually displayed in this area. This is still under construction, and we're currently still developing. It's recognizing agents' email addresses that are assigned to the MLS account. But if it's a generic email address that the MLS does not recognize, we're having trouble connecting those two. So that's what we're working on. So it's in the account. We're not in a normal training. I would not highlight this like this, but I just want you to have a full knowledge of what's coming or what is at their fingertips. But
Okay.
in the training, I will discourage the loan officers to use that area until it's definitely up and running 100%. So now that we've gone over, do you have any questions as far as the agent enrollment process? This is generally when I would open it up for questions to the loan officers.
No, this actually is, for me, it's, to me, it makes a lot of sense. I'm matching up your email as you're moving through here and just kind of watching as we go. So
Great.
I love it that there's a really, really simple set of steps right there for a loan officer to, sit and take control of their keyboard or literally take a piece of paper. That's just so easy. So I'm really encouraged that you've made it that simple.
Well, great.
And Tom,
I just look at that like these are simple things to hold a loan officer accountable to.
Exactly.
Sorry, I know I talked.
oh no, that's okay. We also provide the loan officers with marketing tools that we have. There's a list of benefits that we share with them so they can go over that with the loan or with the real estate agents when they go to introduce the program. We have a slideshow about RatePlug that they can, review with them as well, a flyer. So we give them those tools so that when they do go out to talk to their realtors, they have some items at hand as well.
When do you normally share that with the loan officer? When do you do that?
Actually, they get it twice.
Yeah, they get it upon enrollment, so they get it on their training email that lets them know that they need to train, and then they get it directly after training that says, hey, your account's been activated, you've completed training, here's some marketing materials to approach your agents.
So we don't really go through, though, the specifics of the materials. We're kind of just randomly providing them.
Yeah, we tell them
Correct.
how
And they
to
have to-
sign up the agent.
So I could see where there could be some disconnect in that process.
And actually, Brent and I had this conversation because I'm doing onlines with a lot of my companies right now to kind of re-engage their loan officers.
Right.
And one of the disconnects that one of the companies brought to my attention was they don't know how to sell it to the real estate agent.
Mhm.
So I created a sales presentation for them and am now sharing that. I just gave it to my first one today, but it's something that we almost have to train the loan officers on how to work with real estate agents.
Mhm.
And that's something that they just didn't realize. So I try to go over in my presentations now, how do you guys approach a loan officer or a real estate agent? What do you tell them?
Okay. Obviously, that's the piece that we're going to work in partnership with Tom and his team. That to not only encourage, but to how to use the tools and then monitor their true and their accountability for using the tools and going out and signing up agents. So.
Tom, after this call, you want me to I can send over the Portland MLS marketing materials so you can just have a quick glance at that stuff, or do you want me to take the time to do that right now?
No, send them over. That'd be great.
Okay. Do you have?
I was sitting here
MLS?
thinking, ooh, how
I'll see if I
can we
have
get hands on that stuff?
Yeah, no, that's something I can definitely get you. Here, just give me 1 sec. I'll send it right now.
If you just give me his email, I can pull them all together.
RMLS. I'll send you the welcome one. So this would be the initial that the loan officer receives upon enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be coming over right now. Okay. So we were at the RatePlug agent enrollment form. Generally speaking, right now what I would do is open it up for the MLS display portion. So this is more geared towards your buyer's agents. This is going to be the portion of the program that displays when your agent is working with their buyers, sending listings to those consumers through the MLS. Your information will be displayed on those materials that your agent's sending out. And what I do is I bring them into this sample area. So this is inside of the account under RatePlug Marketing Tools and then RatePlug Sample. So you can see we actually give them, they do need to be connected to an agent in order to have this portion available to them inside of their account. But they'll be able to see exactly how their information would display on the listings.
Mm-hmm.
They can go in and play the offer scenarios, see how things change around, hit calculate. They can see that the FHA is not eligible, so it disappeared. Along with this, the yellow key info button, they click through. You can see what that consumer would have access to, where they would be able to ask you a direct question, link out to their Alpine website, link out to their email. If that consumer clicks on the 30-year fixed hyperlink, they're going to get a loan summary as well as a full amortization schedule for the life of the loan. So that's a real powerful tool that I think if the agents are highlighting to an educated consumer that information is available, that consumer is going to be able to take advantage of that. Some of your first-time home buyers might not have any information. It's a great way for that agent to kind of show off and have some explanations for them so your loan officers can explain what's accessible to those consumers through these links.
I think that's just actually, when I've watched you guys do this a few different times now, This to me is one of those great opportunities for us to teach loan officers how to teach real estate agents to sell houses.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
I've just gone currently, guys, just since we've started these conversations, I have helped my mother put her house on the market. My mother's almost 81 years old. It's time for her to move. And I have been shocked at the level or the lack of professionalism and sophistication by real estate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, to me, it's become an oxymoron. It's a joke. When they're dying for inventory and they're dying for listings, and they can't even figure out the most basic thing. So to me, it's like, oh my gosh, there's an enormous opportunity here.
Yep. Absolutely. If you can make your agent come across as being that educated, top of the line agent, when oftentimes they're showing up, handing them a piece of paper, and they turn around and let you look at the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, they still have that calculator scenario here displayed below. All the necessary payment streams. This would be the loan officer photo as well as Alpine's logo. We have the contact information displayed again. This is more compliance stuff, but we have the timestamp as to when those rates were last generated. And then the customizable interest rate disclaimer, which Alpine will have full control over.
Right.
I do want to point out, I generally point this out, this page has the necessary relationship disclosures, timestamps, interest rate disclaimers, so this page can actually be printed through the MLS. This portion, when they see the calculator, cannot be printed. If an agent goes to print this information, RatePlug disappears because this is meant to be static and be connected to their account at all times. There's not the protection layer as on the click-through page.
That's great. I think that is another great conversation for loan officers
Mm-hmm.
to have. That's great.
So that's kind of the MLS display portion. Again, this is being pushed out by the agents on the properties, going out to their consumers. Your loan officers are not going to go search an agent's listing in the MLS and find this information connected to their agent's listings. That agent would have to send them an email in order for this to be attached. So that's generally, we just want to highlight exactly how this is being attached and where it's being attached so that there's no misunderstanding. Okay. That's the MLS display portion. Again, that's geared towards the buyer's agents. This next portions of the program are generally geared towards the listing agents. So now what I want to take you through is the automatic email alerts and the property flyer portion.
Do you go over stats with them?
Yeah,
Okay. You do it at the end.
comes after the flyer.
Oh, okay.
So for the automatic email alerts, loan officers are going to receive 3 types of emails from RatePlug. You're going to receive an email if your agent lists a new property, if your agent lists an open house or a broker tour, or if your agent initiates a purchase contract. So in this case, they're actually working with the buyer. RatePlug's going to send you and your loan officers an email letting them know, hey, it's a great time to reach out and congratulate your agent on this activity. It's difficult to get any sort of traction these days, and see if you can be of assistance. Is that seller going to become a buyer here shortly? Can we help pre-approve, or can we be of assistance meeting closing dates or contingency dates? So inside of the account, we have RatePlug email alert history. Your loan officers will have access to any and all emails that RatePlug has sent them regarding these activities. So we have a number of different ways to search. I'm going to go ahead and search all, and I'm just going to do May, for example, and hit submit. And we have access to all the alerts that this account received during the month of May regarding their agent's activities. So for example, this is a contract alert, example of a contract alert email. We're going to let you know the agent's name, the MLS identifier, address, list price, the type of property, and then the big kicker, status. This is either going to read contingent or pending. That's going to be the trigger to let your loan officers know, hey, there's a time limit here on what's going on, and this contract's been initiated.
Right.
Hopefully, your loan officer has been in front of this consumer because their information's been sent out on the listings by the agent while this consumer's been searching for properties to purchase. If they haven't had the property to opportunity to pre-approve, they'd be able to, this is that last ditch effort to go and see if you can capture some of that business. So for the open house alert example, you can see we provide very similar information: name, MLS identifier, property, list price, the type of property, and then we give you a time and date as for when that open house is taking place. Fairly pertinent information for an open house. And then we have our create flyer link found inside the email. What this link does is take you directly into your generate a property flyer screen, and it pre-populates that MLS number and the agent from this email to know who's going to go on the flyer and what it's for. I'm going to show you exactly through that link on the next email. It's available on the new property also, so that's what we'll do just right after this. So the new property listing is the third type of alert loan officers receive. As you can see, again, agent name, identifier, address, location, and then list price. And then we have our create property flyer link. I'll go ahead and click that create property flyer link. This has brought us into the system. It used the MLS number and Steven.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm really sorry. I completely disappeared on you there for whatever reason. I just was gone, and it disconnected me even right back when you were talking about this is your last ditch effort. Right, that's right where I lost you.
Okay, not a problem.
I apologize, but
no,
technology, I guess.
That's great. Yeah. So this is where you left off. This is that alert email that triggers them to the contract. So that's the first type of email alert they would receive. The second type is I went over an open house alert. The open house, similar information, but it's going to provide the open house time and date. And it's going to allow them, it's going to have a create flyer link displayed within the email. What this does is it brings them directly into that generate a property flyer screen inside of their account, and it pre-populates the agent and the MLS identifier from this email for the flyer. And I'll show you real quick. I'll just jump through the new property listing so you can see all three examples, and then we'll jump through on that link. So for the new property listing, agent, MLS identifier, address, location, list price, and then we have our create property flyer link. So when your loan officer goes in, selects create property flyer, it brings us to our generate property flyer screen, pre-populated the MLS identifier as well as Steven, the agent who listed the property. All the loan officers come in and do is select the template. Generally speaking, agents like a lot of photos of the property they're trying to sell, but the layouts to each their own, whatever they think looks best. Section 4, really this is already set. I don't think I've ever seen a loan officer change these branding or picture options. This is where they have that ability, but this is always set. So this is something they're going to skip over every time they make a flyer. Section 6 is where they select the programs that are maintained by Alpine that are connected to the account. So if they want to show a USDA 30-year fixed and a 5/1 ARM, they go ahead and select those. They assign a down payment scenario. Let's go ahead and bring that into range. Section 7 and 8 are override sections. This is all information we're directly pulling from the MLS. So the loan officers do not need to fill out this information, but in case maybe there's been a purchase price update or a list price update today and RatePlug hasn't updated yet, the loan officer would be able to go ahead and override that purchase price to make it an appropriate scenario. Section 9, you can specifically brand whether it's an open house and the availability. And then also you can add the promotional offer. So if they have a quick, free pre-qualification, contact me about my combo loans, anything along those lines, this is where they could add that to the flyer. They hit click here to generate, and it looks like the 5/1 is not turned on in Char's account below 150,000. All right, there we go. So we select a 15-year fixed and said, you can see this is the flyer we pull. The first 7 photos pulled directly from the MLS. The property description is pulled directly from the MLS. The agent information, agent photo, the utility of the property pulled directly from the MLS. The loan officer information is displayed on the bottom third of the page. You can see the products we selected for this property to display on the flyer, the down payment scenarios we set up, and we're providing that estimated monthly payment on this property. You can see the necessary contact information is displayed, licensing information, email addresses, website information. This is where on the 7-photo flyer, that promotional information, if you will show up.
Yep.
There's the less photos you have, the more promotional area that's available. So if they have a big message, they're going to want to go with the fewer photos. But that's just something you play around with as time goes by and you figure out what you like.
So the loan officers in Alpine have the ability to do that, or is that locked down in their account?
For the promotional area, right now the promotional area is able to be changed by the loan officers.
Okay.
We do have the ability to shut that off, and also through our management reporting, the managers also have access to what's contained in that promotional area, so they can see what's there and if necessary clean it out.
Got it.
Okay. Payment streams are displayed, and then we have the interest rate disclaimer that's connected to the account provided by Alpine, and any necessary logos that were selected inside of the accounts are displayed. One last step for this flyer to be complete. At the top left-hand corner and bottom left-hand corner, we have print or save this flyer as an Adobe PDF. We click the link. This actually takes us out of RatePlug and into our Adobe system. It provides for the highest resolution for the photos, as well as the easiest format to either save or print, however we choose to deliver this to our agents.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where, generally speaking, you would either save or print and get it out to the agent. In order to go back into RatePlug, this is another navigational tip. We want to use the back arrow from this location. It'll take us back into RatePlug. If you actually close that window, we're logging back in and going through all of that process again. Not a major thing. It's just as a time saver, that back arrow is a nice step. So that was how the loan officers come in and create a property flyer from an email. The long way to go about it is they'll come into their account. Third red link in the middle is generate a property flyer. They click generate a property flyer. They want to find their agent's listing. So section 1, they click the link, find your agent's listing. They come in, they're looking for one of Kathy's listings. We hit submit. Every single one of Kathy's active listings on the market is displayed. We search and find the property that we're trying to create the property flyer for. We select the property. MLS ID and Kathy have been populated. We do have the ability, let's say Kathy calls us and says, hey, Steven's hosting my open house this weekend. Any chance you can create a flyer for my property? Because the loan officer is connected to both agents, they can put Steven's information on Kathy's listing if he's hosting an open house in that scenario. The limiting factor there is they need to be connected to both agents. Okay,
Cool.
we'll just go ahead and show you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm just making notes to myself and talking out loud.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and select the six photo template just so we see something different. We'll go ahead and click here to generate. And there's Kathy's information, new property. You can see the programs display in a little different fashion. That promo section gets highlighted a little more on the 6 photos, and then we have the loan officer contact information and everything else required. So you can see, I mean, it really 15 to 20 seconds once you get the hang of it, they can crank these flyers out in no time.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's the flyer portion and the email alert portion. Any questions as far as that goes?
No, I can tell that I'm going to at some point need to be able to sort of track her around there myself, but that makes perfect sense, and you guys make that very intuitive. So I mean,
great. Well, thanks.
What I'm saying, I mean, I guess I just see that as there are no excuses why someone can't do that. You've taken all excuses away. So that's easy.
Great. Yeah, and depending on how we want to do it, Tom, I can get you a test account set up so you can go in and play around, or however, whatever you need. Just we'll figure it out, and I can get you.
And let's just say for some reason, the LO is like me,
Mhm.
and they're confused and dazed easily, you know? And obviously at this point, I know all these processes, but this is their first exposure,
Mhm.
and they feel pretty good, but now they're on their own. Is there something we provide back to them as a reference if they get mixed up a week
Yeah.
down the road
Yeah,
and so forth?
actually, so it's not something we necessarily provide on an active level, but it's available to them inside of their account.
Okay.
So what we do, and this actually is the next section, so I'll just go over
Oh,
it
good,
in the
good.
normal process. So what would actually happen now is I would highlight our archive system and the statistics of the loan officer. So in accordance with the FTC map ruling of 2011, all marketing materials must be archived for a minimum of 2, maximum of 6 years. RatePlug goes ahead and protects you for the maximum amount of time. We archive everything from the date of creation for 6 years. Inside of your account, sixth red link down is the RatePlug display archive. If we click through, you can see this information can be searched by a number of different ranges, criterion, anything along those lines. I'll just select July. We could search by a specific agent. We could search by an office. We could search for a specific property if that's what we wanted. We hit submit, and every and all co-branded material has been archived in this location. We have access to this information. Click to view means it has been archived. It does take us a couple days to archive this information just due to the amount of information we're archiving daily.
Sure. Oh, and those are the ones you just did.
Correct. Yeah, this is today at 1:07. So yeah, it's instant.
Yeah, great.
So the archive system, this would be another place that you actually have access to when we get you set up with management reporting. You'll actually have access to their archive system, so you'll be able to see what they're doing, what's being created. Are the agents utilizing the system and sending out information? Are they responding? So this is a great area. This is kind of a individual level of what your management reporting looks like.
That's great.
So the archive system is available at any time. And then the user statistics on the right-hand side. We provide month to date as well as program to date. The MLS displays, I'll just go over what each one means for you real quick. MLS displays represents the number of times that the agents have sent out your loan officer's information to their consumers, and it's been viewed.
And is this stat, Tim, is this where it says your monthly stat? That is, in this case, Shar's monthly stat.
Correct, that's correct.
Officer.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Detailed displays is going to represent the number of times the consumers click through on that yellow key info button to learn more. Listing, sales, open house alerts tracks the number of emails RatePlug sent the loan officer based on the agent's activities. Flyers created is going to track the number of property flyers that were created inside of the account. Generally speaking, we look for a pretty solid correlation between listing alerts, open house alerts, and flyers created.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, is that someplace you guys have ever done the math behind
Yeah.
it. Have a predictive algorithm. You know, as one goes up, so does the other.
Exactly. And hopefully the flyers made go above and beyond because they're checking in that week after to see if they need a new one. And then they have the ability to see the active agents connected to their account. And again, if they have any question as to who those agents are, show agents link will always show you who the agents are that are connected to the account and what the status is of their account.
You know, and Tom, to this part, when I go over this with loan officers, especially now because one of the biggest thing I hear back from loan officers is I didn't get any leads from this. And I always try to explain we're not a lead generating system, we're a realtor relationship system. So I always refer them back to their stats and tell them, well, if you take a look at this month alone, you've had I can't tell that number, 6 people or viewed your MLS information. And though we can't tell you who those people are, but if you go back to your archive system, you can see which agents those consumers were attached to. And it's a great way to follow up with that realtor to talk to them about the buyers that they're working with and see if there's someone to get them pre-approved.
So your loan officer can go back in and say, hey, I want to search the property details. And they can reach out to Ed and say, hey, Ed, I saw, this afternoon, it looks like you sent my information out twice on 2 listings to a consumer. Does that consumer need to be pre-approved? So that's kind of, that put 2 and 2 together. We can make it a lead generator, but you got to take some steps and reach out to your agents and interact with them. It's just not going to be in the account.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. I'm really encouraged that that's that simple. Because I love it that you would say that, Char. I think that the last 7 years, social media and all that sort of stuff has made everybody begin to think, oh, if I just do one little thing, my phone's going to blow up, and it actually takes a little work. The lead's in there. It just takes a little work. People think it's going to just throw themselves down on their desk.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I filled out 1003.
But I'm so glad you called.
Yeah. So that's kind of the user statistics, and then what Brad was referring to earlier under the support tab in the header. For support, they can easily contact their support representative. This has Shar's information, so it's kind of looks backwards, but it would come to either me or Shar when they asked a question. And this is how the loan officers would have one option to reach us. And then we also have training under the support tab. So if that loan officer needs a refresher at any time, these are YouTube-based videos that literally go over what I just went over here today. It's almost structured the exact same. How to set up your account, how to set up your rates, how to enroll agents, how to create a flyer, and how your RatePlug MLS displays will look, and then how to utilize the alerts. So, I mean, by category, it's pretty much exactly what we go over. This is actually where the loan officer would be referred if they chose to do the self-training and not attend the online portion. So that would be the area that maybe we want to highlight for a loan officer to maybe weekly touch base if they have any questions. And of course, always can reach out to me and if they have anything.
So, and obviously, and you might show the MSAT in a second. Obviously, you wouldn't be showing an MSAT to an individual loan officer, but to a manager for management training, if they were looking at the MSAT, let's say on a weekly basis, and they noticed 4 of their loan officers had zeros for agents enrolled in activity, they might be able to reach out to those 4 to see if they need to go back in and refresh themselves. I mean, that's where I think once you get past a week or 2 weeks, if you haven't gone out and brought an agent into this thing, you could easily forget a number of the areas that you just expressed to them. So.
And Tom, I just hopped into an active. This is Scott Miller. I want to say it's Irvine. This is his account. So he's got 12 loan officers in his account that are utilizing the system. We come into the MSAT. We search July active, and this is what Scott has access to. So Scott can see exactly what's being done inside the system.
Okay, great.
So this perfect opportunities just right here, even with Eric Miller. We've got 10 alerts and 0 flyers. Does he have a flyer program that he's using outside of RatePlug, or is he just not responding to these alerts at all? What might just be a question to ask. And if we're looking for specifics on Eric, and this is what your account will actually have, Tom, this is what I'm going to set you up with. You'll be able to click on Eric and say, okay, here's what's on Eric's account. Here's who Eric works with. Here are his agents. Here's the number of listings, so we can see whether they're producers, are they listing agents, are they buyers agents. Generally, we can ask, figure out where these relationships are producing. 63 listings. He's got a nice agent going right there.
Yeah.
But you can see that we give you the information on the agents that they're connected to, and then you have access to that archive system, this is basically their archive system inside of your account. So you'd be able to see specifically the number of displays. If you want to see exactly what the consumer was seeing, you click through, we click to view, and you can see exactly what the consumer saw
At that date.
on this date
Yeah.
at this time and what was actually being maintained by the company, so that you can actually go back and say, okay, this loan amount was, oh, where is it? 197. Let's go in at 197. We need to be displaying 4.25 on a 30-year fixed. So you can just check our accuracy, make sure everything's displaying correctly, but also you can know exactly what that consumer saw.
So this part would be more of a management training part.
Yeah.
Obviously not an individual loan officer. And have you guys done many management trainings other than the home services or those types of groups?
Well,
I do one for everyone who has an
every
account.
company that
Everyone
comes
who has an
in
account.
That has a management
that
team.
has a
Yeah.
management
Okay.
team, we do. And even I share with a lot of our management teams, some companies set up contests to encourage their loan officers to get out and
Incentive
And,
based.
yeah. you know, hey, you add 3 new people this month, we'll give you a $10 gift card or something like that. So we try to go over with the management team, you know, different best practices that we've heard that help out other companies as well.
But the very best practice will be working with Tom Griffith, right?
Yeah.
That's very, very best practice. Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually the sales manager tool right here. And so, you know, as I see this, this makes it so simple for a manager to make it, oh, I see that top performer there is Fenoglio. That I understand Chris really digs
Yeah.
this. So, you know, this to me is the view as a sales manager, this is where I could engage with any individual sales person and help them make better happen. I mean, this is a very simple conversation. And I'd seen this, I think, Brad, I may have seen you show this the first time you ever pitched it. One of you guys has shown me this before, and this is where I wanted to get back to, is where is that really quick link that shows alerts to flyers to simple drill downs.
Yep.
This is great.
And you'll have an account. This will be Tom Griffith, so you'll have and we'll link all of the loan officers back to that account, and I will do my best to have it broken down so hopefully you can identify the branch easily. So
That's good.
Yeah, that's cool. That'll really help me even as I use that as a follow-up tool to Jeff and his managers. You know,
exactly, you export it to Excel and give them a progress report, and it's powerful.
Yeah, I know that you know, Jeff's response would be, "This is cool. Who's going to pull the report?" So you know, I can really help support in that direction too. But I feel like this is you know, part of that RatePlug reach back to some of those people that are, you know, maybe falling off, is that some of their managers are not good managers and they don't understand how to utilize this to make a really easy impact with their salespeople. So I think that's something we can focus on too. This is cool.
So that's the management account. Just going back into the loan officer account, that Tom, that'll really wrap up training. I mean, generally speaking, what I would go over next would be the rates and products, which are going to be maintained for Alpine. So we don't even ask them to stay. We let them go from training at this point, is basically what would happen.
As far as the marketing tools,
Did you receive those, Tom?
Let me go click and see. I have an email from Tim.
Does it have content?
I have, let's see, thank you for joining our RatePlug team. Here's self-training. If you wish to have this must be the email you sent me.
Yeah, there should be some attachments to that.
Yeah, there should be some attachments. Some beautiful Mac attachments and then some RatePlug attachments.
so those you do review with the loan officers in the training through the process.
The marketing materials?
Yeah.
We do not. We don't go over these at all.
So you kind of rely, again, that's probably a little tricky. Well, that's obviously where Tom picks up the ball, is to encourage them to proactively be seeking relationships by utilizing either these tools or future tools we design for Alpine, one or the other. So. Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay,
These will help me a ton. So for me to be able to, just get the look and feel, and Tim, any kind of access you can give me where I can begin to just, mess around, get stuck, et cetera, but also be able to begin to think about conversation for me around the management of the tool. That'll also help me.
Yeah,
I want to be able to build on my goal is you guys obviously are far more fluent in the training of this conversation now, but where I can really come behind you. And I guess what I was saying is I don't necessarily relish taking that over for you, but in fact just kind of augment it with, conversations that sound like, what that means to you is this, and here was something Tim reviewed in training. Let's try this. There's, and then we can even have managers holding their sales team accountable. That's where Alpine and a lot of organizations do not do a good job of translating conversations you have to the street and finding out that it really happened or not.
yeah.
yeah,
That's where we can really transition that.
yeah,
Yeah, no, and I think you hit it perfect there, Tom. Is I think with this initial training, they get a pretty good feel for the function of the account. But I think having you follow up like a week later or 2 weeks later and reiterating what's going on, I think is going to have a huge
Sure.
effect on just that random 20% that really forgot that they attended the training last week.
If they simply go out in the first few days and bring in, and if they make the effort and present this in a nice way, agents, they will find agents that will partner with them. And they were to have 1, 2, 3 in that first week, then they'll start to actually engage into the whole process. Then they'll start to get new listing alerts will come immediately as soon as we sign those. You know what I mean? That the process of an
Presents
open house
value,
in the next
yeah.
weekend might be posted. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Then you're engaged into the process.
As opposed to one agent and maybe getting an email every 4 days or 6 weeks or something.
And if you're only doing one agent or you haven't done an agent in a week, I swear there's going to be either call reluctance or they're going to forget some of the processes you have reviewed with them. That first week or two is pretty critical, So I mean that's kind of the pieces of the program and how we lay it out to these people. The next, as you mentioned, augmentation of this is for them to now take a proactive effort into the market. Do you think a sequence to move with Alpine is for us to offer a kind of a simple orientation, for let's just say there's 7 branches in this group, whether we combine some of those or do 7 different orientations. I think one of the things you've talked to with Brent and Tim is to do an overview and encourage immediate online enrollment with the credit card, so we've got commitment from these folks, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the first thought?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that they need to put some skin in the game. If that's how Jeff is going to structure this for them, I think you need to have loan officers. You need a committed crew, even if it's 25% of the uncommitted crew. I think you do.
Yeah.
I think otherwise people will just not pay attention.
Right.
And we need to do a really good job of building a community of those people who are, learning at the speed of many, sharing for the benefit of the group, and that's how we share the RatePlug success stories from within that group, and that will help, their hive, so to speak, begin to grow.
Yeah.
So if we do that,
my best strategy.
if we do that, let's say over the course of a week, as an example, would then the follow-up be the 40-minute or 45-minute training class, now with all the registered people at that point, do you think, as the next step? And then the ball that's kind of passed to you then at that point, or there would probably has to be management training as well. As part of that training.
There's two keys that we need to get a hold of, and that's getting the loan officers on a webinar so that we can get them enrolled or at least to that enrollment page. And Tom, that's kind of I was trying to brainstorm and see if I could pick your brain on, do you think the best success would be going to individual managers and getting their teams on a webinar at that time? Or do you think sending out 5 times where Alpine loan officers can attend an informational and it could be intermixing in between branches? I mean, I feel like if we have a branch manager involved that's telling them that they need to go to this because we're paying for it and we're providing this for you for the first 3 months, I feel like that would maybe carry a little more weight than us sending out an invitation to something that I'm guessing these loan officers probably haven't been told about yet.
Yeah, I think we need to have the managers involved, and this is one of those things, Tim, where I think we also need to get Jeff to say what he wants to have happen here.
Yeah.
I don't want to second guess Jeff's decision,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say that having, if it was me, you've got, a little selection of times, and the branch managers are responsible for getting their salespeople committed, and, Jeff kind of needs to hold the managers accountable to holding the salespeople accountable. Otherwise, that leaves all of us babysitting salespeople.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you've already done enough of that.
Yeah. No, you're right on track. And I think Jeff would want to obviously be involved in this, in the leader role, even if we're taking on the burden of it, in that leader role. So that's what we'll do. We'll communicate to him, obviously what we've achieved today. I think what we should do is prepare maybe just an outline of a sequence of events that need to occur over the next number of weeks. Work with you on that, because as to, let's say we do an orientation for a branch, and the branch manager encourages all of those people within 24 hours to sign up, and then we do a follow-up training class within 3 business days or whatever it is. At that stage, then you're involved in what the next processes would be, and so you're going to have to think through that part of it, Tom, as to how you want to take the baton once they've been through the orientation, the sign up, and then the training. You're going to want to think through the next pieces of that puzzle.
Yep. And that, to me all along, I know that we've talked about this, but that becomes a barb-themed sort of training of getting them to. I'd want to do that very, very quickly for those people that, if you want to really build a business with this, now we're going to teach you these steps, conversations and behaviors necessary to build and sustain a real business, all built around these. This is your accountability and RatePlug. This is your conversations, your things that you do, all that, and we can do those. I've been listening today just thinking traditional barb sessions, are a couple of times a month, but I think in this situation, we almost want to do something shorter and weekly, just really quick.
Perfect.
Weekly accountability, weekly. So that's, I'm talking out loud with you here, but I feel really, this has filled in a bunch of gaps here for me, and I feel really good about that direction. If you're just teeing them up, showing them, orientating them, and then we can come right behind that and say, hey, now that's done. In this period of days, this class starts. Let's go.
Okay.
That's what makes it.
We're all on the same page.
And Tom, do you think I want to make sure for that for the initial orientation and training after enrollment, are you comfortable with them attending the national, or would you want that to be a specific Alpine one, an Alpine training specifically?
My answer to that is that's a Jeff question.
Okay.
So that's I don't want to cause you guys any kind of special service discomfort, pleasure, whatever outside what you normally want to do there, and until I kind of get a little better feeling,
that's great.
I think what we'll end up doing for that is probably dedicate at least this template to Alpine. And just because it puts more burden on us, but that's okay.
It's fine.
I want to assure that we're doing all the correct pieces that lead to the greatest success.
Yep.
And then if we are doing that, it's going to be a simple template for Pinnacle, and then it will be a simple template for Harris Bank, and then network funding, and on and on and on at that point. So
good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well,
that's what I think too. Is like templatize the whole deal. The way we do it the first time will teach us what we need to do the second time, and by the third time, we've got it nailed.
Okay, well, I think we did a good job today. And I enjoyed watching this whole process unveil itself. We'll put a little schedule of events together. I'll reach out with Brent to Jeff and apprise him of our success today, and obviously move rather rapidly into this orientation sign-up/training.
Yeah, Tom, I'm going into a meeting this afternoon, but I hope by the end of the day I should have a test account ready for you to just shoot over so that you can at least access it and start playing around.
I crazy love it. That's awesome.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you to
Yeah,
Okay.
all
absolutely.
of you, and thank you. It's nice to meet you from a distance. So I'll look
You
forward
as
to
well.
talking to y'all soon.
Have a
All right,
great
Tom.
afternoon,
Thanks.
Tom.
Have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.